There is a rising interest in NPS simply from the number of queries we get around this from our audience, and we would surely look to bring a more detailed coverage on NPS, its plans, which are the NPS plans that we like for our subscribers. But just to provide my view on this NPS versus mutual funds, they, in many ways they are close siblings for your investments. And let me talk about NPS Tier 1 first, which is the primary option that you get in NPS. And this is basically meant for your retirement goal. So this debate is relevant in terms of your retirement savings. Now there are some aspects, and by the way, NPS is it's a pretty solid investment avenue for your retirement goals. At any given point, if you have whatever apprehensions about anything else, NPS, you cannot go wrong with NPS. So NPS is a pretty good retirement vehicle in that sense. But talking strictly comparing head-to-head versus mutual funds, let me talk about first the parameters where I think mutual funds have their nose ahead when compared with the NPS. The first is the returns aspect. Now, NPS largely confines its investments to the large cap stocks. I'm talking about the equity plans of NPS Tier 1, and they largely confine themselves to the large cap stocks. When we compare their performance with the large cap mutual funds, they are very, very comparable. There is hardly anything to pick one from the other. But the thing is that for something like a retirement goal, which is perhaps the longest of the long-term goals that you can have, I think it is highly desirable that you shed some of your conservatism and invest relatively more aggressively, have some exposure to mid cap and small caps, because those are the kind of segments which can really make a difference to your returns for a long-term goal like retirement. And in mutual funds, you get a variety of funds with some varied exposures to mid and small caps, and over a period of time, they do make a difference to your returns. So with NPS, because their investment universe itself by mandate is restricted to the top 200 stocks, they do not have the leeway to go much beyond that in hunt of returns. So this is where NPS tends to lose out a bit versus mutual funds. The second aspect is about asset allocation, because even the most aggressive investor in an NPS cannot invest more than 75% of his or her money in equity plans. And again, given the long-term nature of your retirement corpus, there would be a fair amount of investors who would want to invest more in equity, and there is nothing wrong with that. It is indeed highly desirable, but that is again a limitation with NPS, because by design you cannot invest more than 75%, which is again where mutual funds offer you a lot of flexibility. Now moving on to some of the other aspects where NPS trumps over mutual funds, and the foremost is their tax efficiency. When we talk about the withdrawal of your retirement accumulation at the age of retirement, in case of NPS, up to 60% of your money you can withdraw completely tax-free, and with the remaining 40% you are mandated to buy an annuity, and even this 40% you need to transfer into an annuity product without paying any tax. So effectively what this means is your entire NPS accumulation over the 20, 25, 30 long years becomes tax-free, and this is a big incentive. This is a big leg up that they have over mutual funds, because over these years the capital gain tax component in your overall corpus can be substantial, and therefore even at 10% tax that you pay as per the current rules in case of equity mutual funds can be a fair amount of tax outgo which you are saved off in NPS. Even the annual rebalancings are very efficient in NPS, because whenever you make any changes to your asset allocation within the overall wrapper of NPS, it remains completely tax-free. While in mutual funds, whenever you switch your money from debt to equity or the other way around, you incur a capital gain tax liability. So tax efficiency is one big powerful feature in favor of NPS. The other is their low cost. Their costs are capped at not more than 0.09% of the money they manage for you, and this is the kind of expense ratio which even index funds find hard to beat. So clearly low cost is again a big advantage, and again over these long years of investment it adds up. The third thing is lock-in. Now a lot of people might look at the lock-in in case of tier 1 plans as a deterrent, but in fact for a retirement goal, lock-in is not a bad idea at all. It ensures that your retirement savings do not take a back seat, or periodically, your retirement accumulations do not fall prey to some other urgent need or some other temptation for which you end up withdrawing the money. So NPS by design makes sure that if you are saving and investing, you retire rich. And again, that is a very powerful point that goes in favor of NPS. Now, with all these advantages and disadvantages, the pluses and minuses versus mutual funds, so how does it all add up? Well, I'd say that if you are by nature a conservative investor, you anyways do not look beyond the large cap universe, and you do not prefer to invest more than 70-75% of your money in equities anyways. Then NPS is an excellent choice for the kind of cost, for the kind of tax efficiency. I think it gives you a pretty good deal, which with these kind of constraints, mutual funds might find hard to beat. For others, NPS can only be a part of your allocation. You should not give mutual funds a miss. In the mid cap and the small cap segment, they can really make a difference to your overall retirement accumulation. Now, talking about NPS Tier 2, which is actually much more similar to mutual funds because they do not have a lock-in. So you can invest in them and you can withdraw your money anytime. But I think right now you should just stay away from NPS Tier 2 and sit on the fence and only look at it from the sidelines. And the reason is there is not a lot of clarity on the tax treatment. The tax authorities have not very explicitly stated how your NPS Tier 2 accumulations will be taxed. And in the wake of this ambiguity, a lot of tax consultants actually prefer to treat NPS Tier 2 as debt investments, and therefore your accumulations would get charged to tax at the slab rate. And the reason is simple, because on your NPS transactions, you do not pay securities transaction tax, or the STT as it is popularly known. And this is one of the ways the tax treatment on these market linked investments is determined. So because you don't pay an STT on NPS, the de facto tax treatment presumed on these investments is that of a debt. And on long-term accumulations from equity, debt tax treatment can be a big tax burden, and this itself is a deal breaker. So stay away from NPS Tier 2 till the time there is more clarity, and once there is, of course, we'll bring some more coverage on those aspects for you. But in the meantime, we will certainly look to bring more detailed, more elaborate coverage where we bring to you our selection of NPS plans which you can seriously consider for your investment.